Well, welcome Montauk to Manhattan and the tri-state area. This is your radio host. I want you to listen in closely today because I got a message from the griddle of heaven. I believe right now you should be packing up the family and getting out to the upper room, Christian World Center, or your local church that you belong to. I'm packing up my family, a couple hamburgers, and I'm heading down to the upper room, Christian World Center in Dix Hills, New York. And I'm going to ask you to get to church today and support the work that God is doing on this island from Montauk to Manhattan. You know, I want you to understand that Vic is a church man. Vic believes in the church. Vic believes it's the only weapon that God has in the end times is going to be the church of Jesus Christ. He's going to bring people like you and me. He's going to have a manifestation of the sons and daughters of God. And we are going to touch this world like never before. Before God judges this world, I tell you, there's a great revival coming. Before God says that judgment's gonna fall, you're gonna see the mighty hand of God perform some great and mighty things through you and you. Today my message is entitled, You Never Know Who's Going to Be Your Help in This Army. You never know who God's gonna use. At any time, I want to tell you a story. Before I went into the coma that I experienced, I was operated on. They sent me home. And then in my house, I remember sitting in my chair, reading my Bible, and all of a sudden this sharp pain came on my stomach. And in the interim, as the pain came, I started to lose consciousness, and I would fall back into the chair as dead. I remember yelling to my wife, honey, something's wrong. I have no idea what's wrong at that point, and I keep going in and out of consciousness. Now I want to bring you to another part of this story. When I bought this house, I went in there over the winter, and I took a 3-month contract period, and the house was empty. And I went in there with some of my men, and we made this house, which was a foreclosure, into a luxury home with everything that you could ever want, right here in Coram, Long Island, New York. And I did it, and I was proud of the work I did. Some of the things I did in that house, even with my own hands, was remarkable. And then I remember sitting down at the end of this, and one night I'm walking around the backyard and I'm looking for, like an artist would look for certain things that would just bring this house to a little more perfection that I was looking for. And all of a sudden, I hear somebody from a roof line say, "Hey, Vic!" And I said, who could that be? I didn't know where it was coming from at first. Now I want to bring you back to another part of a story. So stay there. Just hold on to that for a second. Now, I was in business for many, many years, and I had a young man come in my business. You know, my father taught me to put up with the public, be nice to the public. Remember, they're paying your bills, son. He said, so don't abuse the public and be very nice to the public. He gave me the impression that you had to shine the public's shoes because they're coming in your business and they're going to spend money. He says, and you've got to be very appreciative of that. And I believe that to this day. I believe that's why a lot of businesses fail, because people don't realize you got to make it in business etiquette before you can become somebody in business. And I learned that my customer was always right, in spite of the times I had to bite my tongue and say, oh, but I did it anyway, and it made my business thrive and do much better over a period of time. But one day this kid comes in, and I'm busy as anything. I'm in the garden center business, and he's pulling on my cloak. And I said, what's up, son? And I'm busy and I'm pressed. There's a lot of people in the yard. He says, I'm looking for the bathroom. I said, we don't have a bathroom here. Because I didn't want to give the kid the stock room key to go and find my bathroom. Then he comes back a little bit later and he says, you don't have a bathroom in this establishment? I said, no, we don't have a bathroom. He says, you need to have a bathroom. It's the town ordinance. This kid's about 7 years old. And I'm looking at him. I said, you know, kid, this is when I wasn't such a Christian. I said, you know what, kid? You and your father in the back should go shop somewhere else. And I don't remember exactly how I said it, but I was kind of gruff with this young kid because he was out of control. He wasn't mature enough. And his father let him come up to me while the father stayed in the back. When you have a son or daughter and you go into a public place, you don't let your kid roam all the way around the place, 7, 8 years old, looking for the owner. He's knocking on my office door. So there was something out of alignment with the father, but I tried to pass the test, but I threw them out. Now let's go back to my home. So now I'm in my house and I'm putting those final touches on, and I hear this voice, "Hey, Vic!" And I look up, I think it's God at first. I said, I think God's calling me. And all of a sudden, now I see a young man up on the ridge of his roof carrying a BB gun, which looked like a rifle, to be honest with you. And he yells down, and he says, "Do you remember me?" And I remember right there, the gift of knowledge. That's what the Bible calls it, when you know things that you just know quick. I remembered the incident when I threw this kid out of the yard. Now he becomes my neighbor. I said, honey, I walked in the house. I said, honey, listen to me. We got to get out of Dodge. We got to get out of here quick. She said, we just finished the house. We got everything. I said, I'm telling you, these family over here, they're crazy. The kid's crazy. And my wife's saying, but they can't be that bad. I'm saying, I'm telling you, I never met a kid like this. I never met a father like this. I'm telling you, honey, hear me. And I want to tell you, sometimes you could have a neighbor from hell, or sometimes you could be that neighbor from hell. But I tell you, there's nothing worse than when you don't get along with the Smiths and you being the Joneses. I remember through the course of me living there 10, 12 years that I'd come out and there was vandalism on my house, and I would track it back and watch how it worked, and I seen that it was this young man. And there was nothing I could do about it because the parents didn't care. They gave the kid all the rights in the world. Now, here's the reason why they gave this kid all the rights in the world. Just a sidetrack. They lost a daughter to a drunken driver. And I want to tell you, that's a terrible thing. Don't misunderstand me. But you can't have a grudge against the world because of something that happened in your life. You can't take it out on all society and become vicious in your own life and let your other kid run and do whatever he wants and let him be free. Because I tell you, this kid was aiming for trouble. And believe me, we got into some bouts. The police would come down. They didn't even want to get out of the car, the police, because they knew this was a nightmare. But now I'm going in and out of consciousness, and I said, honey, call an ambulance. And I remember somebody telling me, always call the firehouse. Don't call 911, call the firehouse. I don't know how true that is. I said, call the firehouse. Tell them. I don't know what to tell them, but I'm telling. I knew I was dying. I knew something was terribly wrong by the pain in my stomach. I knew. And when I would go out of conscious, I would see that I'd come back. And all of a sudden, I'd go out of conscious. And all of a sudden, the ambulance driver pulls up. And they get out of the car, the three of them. Now, I'm a big man. I'm 6'7". I'm just under 300 pounds. I was worried about if something ever happened to me, who's going to lift me? And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in my easy chair going in and out of conscious. And the doorbell rings. These three young men enter the house. And I see my wife getting into a little bit of a bout with this young man. She says, you got something on your foot here that you're dragging in my carpet. Now I'm sitting there and I'm going in and out of conscience. I'm saying, this is no time. And then when I look at this young man's face, I realize it's the young man that lives next door. That's been a neighbor from hell. I said, oh my God, he's driving the ambulance. He's the ambulance driver. I said, oh my God. This young man, I'll never forget it. He says, Mr. Caroleo, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you to the hospital. And my wife's still yelling at him, can you clean your shoes off? Can you clean your shoes? He stepped on some doo-doo on the front lawn. I'm saying behind his back, honey, this guy's got to get me to the hospital. We don't get along as it is now. Now you want to tell him, clean his shoes, leave him alone. I'm trying to get this out, but remember, I got no strength. And all of a sudden, this young man took charge. And in taking charge, he got me to the hospital in record speed. I remember when I got out to the ambulance, my wife's shutting the door. I said, get in the ambulance with me. I felt he was going to kill me. I said, this kid's going to put some drug into because they put me on an IV right away. I said, get in the... My wife says, oh no, I'll be right behind you. My wife said later on, after I got out of this coma situation, she says, I've never seen an ambulance going so quick, but this kid was dedicated to the cause of saving my life. I believe people right now on the other side, there are people that you don't even realize that God has slated them in for such a time as this. Maybe it's your pastor. Maybe it's your uncle. Maybe it's somebody that God has in the wings that you didn't even consider. Don't even look for it. It doesn't work that way. God will send you who he needs to send to you to get you to where you need to be. I believe that we have a magnificent God. I believe that God is all-knowing. God knows what he needs to do to bring you through. And I want to tell you, when this young man came to the door, it's not exactly what I thought was going to be God's answer for me. I had to humble myself, but I want to tell you something. This kid didn't let anything get in the way of me getting to the hospital. Come on, people. I want to ask you today, who's God going to use in your life? Can you reach out and say, Lord, send whoever you have to send to bring me to where you have to be? Some of you right now, maybe I'll be the guy that's going to bring you a little closer to Christ today. You didn't expect it. Some of you know me and say, Victor's a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. How did he wind up now speaking into my life and making sense? Because God will take whatever he needs to do to get through to you. And maybe in some cases he's raising me up just to touch your life. I believe we don't know. We can't ask God how the package is going to come. We just got to open up the door and say, Lord, I receive. Come on now, hear me. Adjust your vision and say, Lord, I believe help is coming. Come on, say this. I believe help is coming. I believe it's already on its way. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to try to manipulate it, Lord, but I'm going to believe that you're going to bring me through. And you're going to use whoever you have to use. Father, I will not be prejudiced in whoever you use, Father. If you say they're willing and able, I'm going to believe that you sent them as an instrument to help me. Come on now, people, hear me. You're just a step away from God doing some great and mighty things. I'm just tweaking you this Sunday morning so that you don't shoot yourself in the foot when God sends the help that he promised you from the beginning of time. Come on out to the upper room today, 11 a.m. service. You'll see me there. Come on, bring out your family, your friends. Pretty soon we'll be taking dogs and cats, but right now bring out everybody else. Until I come back again, remember, Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Remember, I'm on Channel 55 every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Tune in to Channel 55 for a power-packed show that'll change your life. And I want to wish you right now a happy 4th of July in the greatest country. Give me liberty or give me death. That's what every Christian should be saying now. Give me liberty or give me death. I believe grace is being extended to you today. God bless you.